Good day, traders. This is Prof from Forex Academy speaking, a man who doesn't need any introduction now. I'm here again with V10S. Before we proceed into what we wanted to talk about, I just want to remind you guys to support the channel by subscribing. Just click the subscribe button and also turn your own notifications on so that you see this content well in time. Since it's analysis, I think it's more helpful when you see it in time rather than just enjoying what would have happened later on. So I'm going to take you back to the previous video we did on V10S. We did a video when V10S was around. Let me take my 2 there. When V10S was around this area, and it was around these areas. Let me just highlight it like this. And the conversation was about the expectations that we had, that V10S was supposed to respect these order blocks given here when it impulsively go up, to respect these order blocks, to impulsively go up to these areas, to impulsively go up to these areas. But what happened? Let's just take inventory of what happened on V10S during that time. Since that time, rather, what we can see here is V10S indeed respected the order blocks. If you still remember the way that I was expecting us to take the trade, I was saying that what you then need to do is, let me remove this, what you then need to do is to wait for them to impulsively go up, like what they did here, then come back to dip down and giving you a second leg to go up top, to join the trade going up top. If you want to see that analysis, you can always refer to the first video on V10S. It is there, just to go and watch. I'm not saying this because the market has moved in that way. No, this was said a long time back, before all this price action that you see here. So this is not what I'm saying now, because I'm seeing that that's what you didn't know. Okay, enough of that. Let's talk about it. Then it came to the double top. After the double top, if you check here on the trend line here, just make sure this is out there. If you check that trend line there, you're going to see that we don't have what we would call a proper retest. It came back to dip down into the channel. Even if you check it here again, you're going to see that there is no properly something that you'd call proper. Well, yes, it's tradable, but it's not as textbook perfect break and retest that most amateurs would expect. But of course, it's tradable. That can be argued. Then we had this dip down, then a correction here, which is a textbook break and retest. This break and retest with a pin there. When people see that pin, they celebrate, isn't it? Those who trade candlesticks, when they see these pins, they celebrate. Then a retest there that you are seeing, giving us a pin inside. Let me just correct my channel there. Okay, so that was the move going down. Let me remove this so that it's not clumsy anyway. Then we have an A, B, C correction, correcting what? This impulsive move. Then from there, the ABC correction tended to be a bullish flag. Then from there, we are having this impulsive move again, and now we are in a triangle. We are in a correction, which is a triangle. Whenever you see a triangle, then you should know that it's a continuation pattern. Of course, I'm going to upload videos on Elliott wave explaining when is a triangle a continuation pattern, and when is a triangle a first wave and not necessarily a continuation pattern. I will do that in the videos to come. Just be on the lookout. Just make sure your notifications are turned on so that you see that as it comes. So this is where we are. Back to V10, this is where we are. We now have this perfect looking channel movement that we have here. And what I'm expecting here is, let me just measure something here and confirm something before we make our conclusions. Yes, 0.618, well, that's enough. What I'm expecting here is for V10 now to push up. I'm expecting it to push up to these areas to complete a third wave in this channel. Then after it completes a third wave, we might get a sideways correction, or it might correct back into these areas just to break down these areas before we get the fifth wave going upside. Let's just check price action and see how V10S behaves when it's reversing. If you check here, you're going to see that you're given an inverse head and shoulder formation. If you check here again, up to these areas, someone would argue there is an inverse head and shoulder formation. Even if you check here, there is an inverse shoulder formation. Well, it's not as clear. We don't want to force matters, do we? Even if you check here, there is a head and shoulder formation, though the shoulders are multi, but there is a head and shoulder formation there. So it's something to expect that on lower time frames, if you see a head and shoulder formation, it's something that you would want to consider seriously, because such would give you a good edge to trade. So if we check here, what we might expect is, let me take this. As you can see that right now it's retracing, it might just retrace to these areas before it goes up. So forming that inverse head and shoulder formation that we're talking about. So it is possible that let's bring that back. It is possible that it will simply correct just to trap some cells. It will correct to these areas, to these order blocks, to this order block that has been given here. It might just respect this order block here up to these areas before it can impulsively go up. It doesn't necessarily need, because downside it has completed these three touches for the triangle to be complete. It doesn't necessarily need to come down to these areas. It might, let's just clown this line and see if what we are saying holds. Oh yes, it did a throw off already. So it doesn't necessarily need to then come down all the way to these areas. It just can just come to this point here. Then after this point, we would expect that impulsive move going upside to these areas. Yes, it's better if the move is fast enough to then break this to this area, to this high, then from this high correct back to retest the channel before it goes what? Upside. So what we are expecting this week on V10S is to buy V10S. We will be buying V10S. Let's look out for corrections on lower time frames, on 15 minutes, on 1 hour, on deep corrections on 30 minutes, even on 2 minutes time frame. 2 minutes time frame is one of my reliable tools. It's one of my tools that I have in my arsenal. I use 2 minutes a lot because there's a lot of message that is sent by 2 minutes that some other time frames don't necessarily send. This is what we have on V10S this week. Don't hesitate if you see a buy set up, because buy movements are expected to be a little bit stretchy than the sell movements. I have a beautiful week ahead, ladies and gentlemen. This is a Prof signing out. I'll see you in another video. Just remember to subscribe. Support the channel by subscribing. and also make sure you hit that notification button. If you have suggestions, don't forget to make some comments to the video. If you have suggestions, or if you have your suggested pairs, you can just hit my DM. You can put even a WhatsApp message. The links are in the description below for WhatsApp, for Telegram, for Facebook. They are all there. Just follow the link and put a message. I will be willing and happy to assist you. Have a peaceful week ahead. Prof signing out.